top hair color trends for women 60 plus that actually work in real life. At some point, we all stop asking what's trendy right now and start asking what actually works for me now. That shift usually happens quietly. Maybe after a color that looked great in the salon, but washed you out by week 3. Or maybe the moment came when your roots started showing faster than your schedule could keep up. Whatever brought you here, welcome. This is Elder Insights, where we explore real beauty for real life, especially after 60. Today, we're talking about hair color, but not in the reinvent yourself with purple streaks kind of way. We're talking about smart, flattering shades that enhance your natural tone, respect your time, and hold up outside of perfect lighting. These are colors that move with you through daily life, from grocery store aisles to dinner with friends. Not ones that demand constant upkeep or cover what you've earned. We'll walk through 7 color trends that actually work for women over 60. That means colors that soften, brighten, blend with silver roots, or warm the skin without trying too hard. Some of them might surprise you, like a certain blush tone that flatters thinning hair, or a lightened brown that's more youthful than black and less work than full gray. And along the way, we'll break down which trends to skip and why what's in isn't always what's right. So if you've ever looked at your reflection and thought, I just want to look like me on a good day, you're in the right place. Leave a comment if you've ever tried a color that should have worked but didn't. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more grounded advice designed for this season of life. Now, let's start with a trend that's subtle, fresh, and surprisingly low maintenance. Number 1, soft rose gold, a gentle lift without the drama. Let's begin with a shade that might sound bold, but in real life, it's one of the most subtle ways to brighten your look after 60. Soft rose gold. Now, before you picture something metallic or flashy, let's be clear. This version isn't the trendy Instagram pink. It's a muted, blush-toned warmth that sits gently between warm beige and pale copper. And when it's done right, especially on light brown, blonde, or transitioning gray, it gives the illusion of fullness, brightness, and movement. So why does it work so well for women over 60? Because mature skin often loses some of the natural warmth it once had. Undertones fade. Cheeks look cooler. That can make cool or ashy hair colors feel harsh, or worse, draining. Soft rose gold, on the other hand, reflects a bit of light back into the face. It warms the skin around the eyes and adds life to the overall tone, without looking fake or overly styled. It's flattering without trying too hard. It's also forgiving. Unlike bolder reds or heavy highlights, rose gold doesn't demand constant touch-ups. The color fades gently over time, which means even as it softens, it blends into gray or silver roots rather than clashing. For women with naturally warm or neutral skin tones, it can make tired hair look suddenly awake. Now, if you've tried warm tones before and ended up orange, you're not alone. You probably went with what was easy or trusted a stylist who matched your old color instead of your current tone. It once felt stylish, but that kind of warmth, without balance, can overpower mature features. That's why tone matters more than trend. Ask for a muted rose gold, not bright copper or pink. A good colorist can add a rose glaze or toner over existing highlights to test the effect. And if you're coloring at home, look for semi-permanent shades labeled as blush beige or light rose blonde. These tend to work well on lighter bases and can even be layered over graying hair to soften it. Visually, the change is subtle, but it catches the light in a way that flat tones don't. Around the temples, it brings warmth. At the crown, it adds dimension. And overall, it gives your hair the sense of movement and softness that full-on gray can sometimes lack. Most importantly, it works in daily life. It doesn't shout, it enhances. Sometimes color is more about tone than trend, and in this case, that gentle rose tone might be just enough to bring the glow back without covering what's already beautiful. Style doesn't have to chase. It can simply arrive. Now let's explore a tone that does the opposite. Cool, clean, and elegant. Perfect for those who want to embrace gray, but still want a little help refining it. Number 2, Smoky Silver. Polished, not flat. If soft rose gold brings warmth, this next shade brings elegance. It's for the woman who's ready to embrace gray, but wants it to look intentional, not accidental. Smoky silver is a tone that adds refinement to natural grays by neutralizing unwanted yellow, blending patchy tones, and enhancing shine, all without full-on coloring. It's not bright white. It's not blue-gray. Think of it more like a satin filter for your natural silver. Cool, calm, and balanced. Why is this shade such a strong trend right now? Because so many women over 60 are moving away from high-maintenance dyes, but still want to look polished. Smoky silver is the bridge. It works with what you already have, especially if you're salt and pepper or fully gray, and it helps control the dullness or brassiness that often sneaks in with age, water quality, and sun exposure. You may have tried letting your gray grow in before and felt a little washed out, or maybe the transition looked uneven. That's common. It once felt freeing but ended up feeling flat. The reason? Natural gray without support can sometimes lack contrast or tone variation, especially under indoor lighting. It might make the face look tired or shadowed. Smoky silver fixes that without looking done. This tone works especially well if your undertones are cool or neutral. It subtly lifts the crown area and frames the face with brightness, softening harsh jaw angles or lines around the eyes. And, unlike stark white or pure gray, smoky silver doesn't highlight scalp visibility or root line contrast. It blends. It refines. Most women don't even need a full dye to achieve it. Often, a silver toner, glaze, or gloss treatment is enough. These are typically applied at the salon or at home using temporary purple or blue-based shampoos and help neutralize brassiness while enhancing shine. Some women do a soft silver toner every 4 to 6 weeks to maintain the tone. Others simply use a weekly purple conditioner to keep things bright and cool. And if you're thinking, I don't want to commit to coloring again, you don't have to. That's the beauty of this shade. It's not about hiding your gray. It's about finishing it, supporting it, letting it glow with just enough polish to look elevated without looking artificial. The right shade doesn't stand out. It supports. And smoky silver is one of those rare options that makes your hair look better without making it look obviously colored. Style doesn't have to chase. It can simply arrive. And if cool tones feel too reserved, the next trend brings the warmth gently. A classic shade that's finally being reimagined in a way that flatters aging skin and pairs beautifully with silver roots. Number 3, warm honey blonde, the youthful neutral. If smoky silver feels a bit too cool or reserved for your taste, let's talk about a shade that brings gentle warmth without tipping into brassy or artificial. Warm honey blonde, not platinum, not bleach, and definitely not the overly yellow tones of years past. Honey blonde is a neutral warm shade with soft golden undertones that flatter mature skin, especially for women whose complexion has cooled slightly over time. It's bright, but not loud, polished, but not high maintenance, and when done right, it adds dimension and warmth in just the right places. So why does it work so well for women over 60? Because it reflects light, literally. Honey tones have just enough gold in them to catch natural light and bounce it gently onto the face. The effect? It softens wrinkles, reduces the look of shadows around the eyes and jaw, and gives your skin a subtle glow, even without makeup. More importantly, it works with graying roots. If you're transitioning from brunette or ash blonde to natural gray, warm honey blends the shift more seamlessly. It creates a soft gradient between your natural silver and the rest of your hair. You won't see that harsh line at the root. Instead, the transition looks gradual, like a tone shift, not a grow out. Now, many women avoid warmth because of past experiences. You might have tried golden tones years ago and ended up orange under certain lights. It probably felt like a mistake, too bold, too fake. You went with what your stylist recommended, or with the same shade you'd used for years. It once felt youthful but no longer fit. But warm honey is not golden blonde from the box dye aisle. It's softer, more natural, more lived in. The key is tone balance. blending soft golden notes with neutral beige so the color flatters, not overpowers. If your stylist uses foils, ask for low-contrast highlights in honey and beige. If you're coloring at home, look for labels that mention natural warm blonde, not golden or butter. Those tend to be more flattering on mature skin and won't clash with existing gray. The best part? It's low stress, because honey blonde fades gently. You won't see a dramatic shift if you stretch time between appointments. And since the base is lighter, new gray hairs don't scream. They just blend in, almost like highlights. Visually, it brings life to the hairline and around the temples. It warms the cheekbones. It gives your overall look a touch of softness that reads as healthy, not dyed. That's the key difference. Your face has changed. Your color should too. And warm honey blonde is a way to honor that change, without losing brightness or ease. Style doesn't have to chase. It can simply arrive. Next, we'll turn to a richer tone, one that brings depth and contrast, especially for women who feel washed out in lighter colors. It's elegant, dimensional, and surprisingly easy to maintain. Number 4, mushroom brown, the modern cool tone neutral. Let's shift from warm to cool with a tone that's taken on new life in recent years and surprisingly works beautifully for women over 60. Mushroom brown. The name might sound trendy, even a little odd, but in practice, this shade is one of the most wearable, flattering options for those who want depth, softness, and low-maintenance polish without heavy contrast. So what is it? Mushroom brown is a cool, muted brunette that leans toward ash and taupe rather than red or gold. It's not flat like a traditional ash brown, and it's not rich like espresso. Instead, it blends soft beige, smoky brown, and light gray tones to create a dimensional, grounded look, especially helpful if your skin tone has cooled over time. And here's the real beauty. Mushroom brown works with gray, not against it. If you've ever dyed your hair dark brown or black in the past, you might remember the constant root struggle. 2 weeks in, you're already seeing a sharp gray line. It probably felt like a fight, one you didn't have time to keep up. And when the rest of your features softened, that dark base started to feel too harsh. That's why this tone matters. Mushroom brown offers just enough depth to frame your face, but its cooler undertone and muted blendability make it ideal for soft transitions. It doesn't create hard edges, it softens them. If you still have some natural brunette left and are noticing more salt and pepper coming in, this shade blends seamlessly. It's especially good at reducing the appearance of brassiness or uneven fading, something common in chemically treated hair as it grows out. It also brings structure. For women who feel washed out in blonde or gray, mushroom brown can restore natural contrast to the face without the drama of dark dye. It gently defines the jaw, warms the eye area in a subtle way, and gives a clean, smooth canvas for silver strands to peek through. You may have stuck with darker shades for decades because they once gave you presence. But now, too much contrast can drag your features down. Mushroom brown bridges that gap. It says put together without shouting it. If you color at the salon, ask about cool lowlights or a semi-permanent glaze in a taupe or mocha base. If you're coloring at home, look for labels like cool beige brown or ash mushroom. But avoid anything labeled chocolate or warm, which tend to pull too red or orange. Visually, it works wonders on medium length and layered cuts. It adds shadow where needed, but lets light reflect from the crown and temples, especially when paired with a silver-friendly toner or gloss. The result is soft, elegant dimension that holds up across lighting and seasons. Sometimes color is more about tone than trend. And in this case, the tone offers calm sophistication. No touch-up stress, no identity shift. Just an easy way to let your gray grow in with dignity and style. Style doesn't have to chase, it can simply arrive. Coming up next, a rich shade that blends earthiness and energy, perfect for women who want more vibrance but still want to keep things grounded and graceful. Number 5, rich auburn, vibrance without overload. Let's talk about color that adds life, not noise. Because sometimes, after years of neutral tones and grays, you simply want a little warmth back in the mirror. Rich Auburn offers that warmth in a grounded, grown-up way. It's not fire engine red. It's not copper. It's a deep, earthy mix of brown and red that flatters without overpowering, especially on mature skin. So why does this color trend matter? Because as we age, many women start to feel a little invisible. Hair loses pigment, skin loses contrast. Features that once stood out now feel a bit blurred. Rich Auburn gently reverses that, bringing warmth and shape back to your look, without looking artificial or overly styled. This color works particularly well for women with warm or neutral skin undertones, or those who once had red or chestnut shades in their natural hair. It's ideal for anyone who still wants color, but doesn't want the chore of high-maintenance dye jobs. And unlike bold reds or trendy coppers, Auburn fades gracefully. The brown base keeps it grounded, while the red undertones add glow and visual interest. That means fewer sharp root lines and more flexibility between appointments. But maybe you've tried red in the past and it didn't turn out well. It probably felt too bright or too orange or faded to a strange brassy tone. You likely chose a boxed red that looked promising but clashed with your skin or washed out too quickly. It once felt youthful, but quickly turned unpredictable. The key difference here is depth. Rich Auburn isn't flat, it's layered. Done well, it blends soft mahogany and subtle copper tones, which reflect light in a way that flatters aging skin and even reduces the appearance of sallowness. If you're coloring at the salon, ask for a mahogany or auburn glaze over a warm brown base. These semi-permanent finishes tend to last longer and fade more naturally than permanent reds. At home, look for terms like deep auburn, mahogany brown, or warm chestnut. Avoid anything labeled intense red or bright copper, which are harder to maintain. Visually, rich auburn softens the jawline, warms the cheeks, and draws focus to the eyes, especially when styled with loose waves or a soft fringe. It's also a great transitional tone for women moving away from darker hair, but not quite ready for blonde or gray. It's bold, but not loud, intentional, but not high maintenance. The right shade doesn't stand out, it supports. And rich auburn supports your features in a way that feels energizing, not exhausting. Your face has changed. Your color should too. And if you're looking for something even softer, but still a little earthy, our next tone might be just what you're looking for. It's natural, understated, and surprisingly brightening for graying hair. Number 6. Soft Terracotta. Natural warmth with a gentle glow. If rich auburn felt a little too bold, here's a tone that offers similar warmth, just toned down, softened, and far more wearable. Soft terracotta is one of the most overlooked hair color trends for women over 60, and one of the most flattering. It sits somewhere between golden brown and muted copper, with just enough orange-red pigment to warm the skin, without pulling too bright or artificial. Think sunlit clay, not cherry red. So why does this shade work so well now? Because it gives you that touch of vibrance, without requiring constant maintenance or major commitment. Unlike strong reds or rich brunettes, soft terracotta is low contrast. That means gray roots don't create a sharp line as they grow in. The overall tone stays gentle and blended, which makes the grow-out period feel more natural. It's also incredibly flattering on mature skin, particularly for women with warm, olive, or neutral undertones. As we age, skin can start to look cooler or more uneven. The warm blush tones in terracotta add back a healthy glow, especially around the cheekbones, jawline, and temples, areas that often show dullness first. But maybe you've shied away from warm tones in the past. You might have tried golden blondes or brassy reds that felt too fake, too shiny, or simply wrong under certain lights. It once felt youthful, but didn't age well. That's the beauty of terracotta. It's warm, but not loud. It gives just enough depth and richness without trying to cover or overpower. And when paired with soft layers or face framing cuts, it can actually make thinning hair look fuller by creating dimension around the face. For best results, this shade works well as an all-over gloss or as low-contrast balayage over a natural base. Ask your stylist for copper beige or muted terra highlights, and steer clear of anything labeled vibrant red or intense warm, which can pull too bold for everyday wear. If you're coloring at home, look for semi-permanent formulas in names like light auburn, warm brown copper, or cinnamon beige. These tend to fade gracefully and won't leave behind a strong line or harsh undertone. Visually, soft terracotta warms the skin around the eyes, brings out natural flush in the cheeks, and creates a soft halo effect under natural light. It looks especially flattering in daylight or under soft indoor lighting, exactly where most of us spend our time. Sometimes color is more about tone than trend, and this tone says warm, approachable, and real, without needing touch-ups every 4 weeks. Style doesn't have to chase. It can simply arrive. And if this warm tone still feels too rich, our final trend might be your favorite yet, a nearly colorless solution that brings brightness, smoothness, and natural lift without changing your base at all. Number 7. Clear gloss and root blending, the invisible refresh. If all the colors we've covered so far feel like too much, even the soft terracotta, there's a final option that doesn't change your hair color at all, yet still leaves you looking noticeably fresher. It's not a dye, it's not a highlight, it's a clear gloss, paired with subtle root blending. Let's start with the gloss. A clear gloss treatment adds no pigment to your hair, but coats each strand in a smooth, light-reflecting layer. It's like giving your hair a top coat, similar to what clear nail polish does for your manicure. This one simple step can boost shine, soften dry ends, and make gray or silver hair look brighter and more intentional. So many women over 60 give up coloring, expecting their natural gray to look effortless. But in reality, even healthy, gray hair can turn dull or yellow from sun exposure, mineral buildup, or old styling products. You probably stopped dyeing your hair to simplify things. It once felt freeing, but over time, you might have noticed your hair started to look more tired than timeless. That's where clear gloss comes in. It restores the texture and glow that gray hair often loses, without altering the color you've grown to accept or even love. The treatment typically lasts 4 to 6 weeks, and it fades evenly without any awkward regrowth. You can do it at the salon or try an at-home version labeled as clear shine, gloss treatment, or top coat. Most are as easy as a deep conditioner, but the result is visibly smoother, shinier hair that reflects light in all the right places. Now, pair that with root blending, especially helpful if you still have some leftover dye on the ends or are growing out a darker base. Unlike full root touch-ups, blending is softer. A stylist will apply a semi-permanent shade just at the root area, usually 1 to 2 shades lighter than your previous color. This eases the contrast between old dye and new growth, allowing your natural gray to emerge without a harsh line. It's the perfect solution if you're somewhere in between, not quite ready to go fully gray, but tired of the monthly coloring cycle. With blending, the line between dyed and natural starts to blur. The result? Hair that feels intentional, even if you're still transitioning. And when paired with a clear gloss, it's even more effective. Your hair reflects light more evenly. The tone looks smoother. And most importantly, it feels like your hair again, not something you're constantly trying to fix. You've earned your rest. Now let your habits support it. This is hair care that meets you where you are, not where trends say you should be. Style doesn't have to chase. It can simply arrive. So now that you've seen the real-world color trends that actually support life after 60, let's wrap up with one last reminder. Because looking refreshed isn't about following fashion, it's about finding ease. By now, you've seen that hair color after 60 doesn't need to follow trends. It just needs to follow you. Whether it's soft rose gold, smoky silver, honey blonde, or no color at all, the goal isn't to cover age. It's to honor the way your features, your lifestyle, and your energy have evolved. The right hair color doesn't demand constant upkeep. It doesn't pull you back into routines that no longer fit. Instead, it works with your natural tones, your calendar, and your confidence. And sometimes the gentlest shift, a clear gloss, a blended root, a warmer undertone, is all it takes to feel more like yourself again. If you've ever looked at your reflection and thought, I want something that feels like me, just a bit brighter, this video was made for you. At Elder Insights, we believe beauty isn't about fighting change. It's about supporting it, calmly, wisely, and on your own terms. So whether you're ready for a soft new shade or simply want to enhance what's already there, know this. You don't have to go bold to look refreshed. You don't have to go back to look forward. You just have to choose what fits now. If this video gave you ideas, let us know in the comments. Which color felt right for you? Or what have you tried in the past that surprised you? And if you haven't yet, subscribe for more grounded beauty advice designed just for life after 60. We'll see you next time.